Let's go. Cali X Boxing 2.0. Let's go. It's Friday. Let me see something real quick. Let me make sure this mic levels are good. Levels are good. Levels are good. I think we're good. And it's Friday. It always reminds me of that Montel Jordan song, right? It's Friday night and I feel all right. The party's here on the west side. So I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. Designated driver took the keys to my truck. It's Friday afternoon and we're on Cali X Boxing YouTube channel. Talking some boxing on this Friday. Sorry. I'm sorry. I get out of hand sometimes. Chauncey Pearls, 12 beers too many tonight. You better relax. Better relax. Better relax. And tomorrow I'll be at the fight, so I'll probably have $25 Modelo's ringside, $25 a piece. You know how they you know how they gouge prices over there in arenas today. Saludos to Jesus M. Ramirez and Barboza are 2-3 WBO ranked, so they face each other, and winner gets Tszyu next year's spring business of boxing. I like it. I like that fight. Nando Yamas in the building as always. Y'all make sure if y'all do one thing for me, bang that like button. It's Friday. Let's go. Salute, kinfolk. Salute to the mighty LDBC. Shout out to the LDBC over there. The mighty LDBC. Shout out to them. Love the LDBC. Somebody send that man a super chat to stop singing. It's Friday night and I feel all right. The party's here on the west side. So I reach for my 40 and I turn it up. Designated driver took the keys to my truck. Hit the if it's all good in my hood tonight. Diet Coke and my rum flask balling on a butt. Diet Coke, dude. Why y'all destroying y'all's drinks with the Diet Coke chaser? Coke, regular Coke. Put some Perrier in there as well. Like you put a little Perrier in there, a little bit of Coke. You're going to be up all night. You're going to be up all night drinking Diet Coke like that. You rolling? So I am. I always roll solo to the fights and just meet people there. It's just how I like to do it. I don't like bringing non-boxing fans to boxing events. I don't like watching boxing fights with. I don't do that, man. I don't invite the neighborhood to fight party. I just don't. I don't like doing it. I don't like entertaining that. I like sitting there, paying attention, watching the fights. I'll meet boxing friends from somewhere, I'm sure, at the fight. That's just how I do it. Coke Zero. There you go, Coke Zero. I just got your notification. Whoa, finally, people are getting notifications. Good. And by the way, man, I've been slacking with the mailing list, and y'all are about to get a big bulk email this afternoon. So sorry about that. And yeah, I'll be ringside for the fight tomorrow night. So I'll have a good time. A lot to unpack today. And it's one of those shows I either decide, am I going to write down notes for this because there's a lot to talk about, or am I just going to freestyle this, go on Raw? Sorry. And I'm just going to go on Raw today. We're going to have some fun. It's Friday. And yes, a lot to unpack. I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez, the whole package of Teofimo Lopez, and I feel we should just sit back and enjoy the show when it comes to Teofimo Lopez. I'll talk about that. Devin Haney possibly going to the Saudi skill challenge, making their moves, how we should read that. Canelo, we're going to address the Canelo hating crayon eaters here because you have to. The thing about crayon eaters is there comes a point in time where you got to address them, or they're just gonna completely mess up the vibe of the classroom. And you have to address the behavior at some point. So we'll address the Canelo hating crayon eaters, amongst many other things we'll address on this show. And like I said, I'll try to not ADHD out and veer off topics and try to stay as locked in as possible during the show. We'll see. Tszyu vacated WBO intentionally for Top Rank Ramirez and Barboza. I don't think Tszyu does anything for anybody except Tszyu. And I can't blame him for that. It's his business. So I don't think there's any conspiracy theory as to why Tszyu does anything besides Tszyu is Tszyu. He is a talented lunatic. And I say that respectfully. I mean, respectfully, he's a talented lunatic. So people are out here trying to read Tszyu as if he's out there playing 4D chess, as if there's some deep psychological reasons as to why he's doing what he's doing. Things are passed down to you generationally. And if you pay attention to yourself, pay attention to behavior, just look at yourself in the mirror, view what you do, just analyze yourself, you'll see that you're a lot like your father. And it's almost impossible to outrun that. Almost impossible. You have to first look in the mirror, reverse engineer yourself, have the time and clarity to do that, and then work on it for years to outrun those things, both the good and the bad that come with it. The good that's passed on from Teofimo Lopez Sr. is what? He obviously has an extremely talented son. They've obviously, in 2 big fights now, done what? Won. And had genius game plans and locked in on the target and won. That's the good part of this. The bad part about this is, and why I would just say it is what it is and just enjoy it and have fun with it. The political incorrectness of things he says outside the ring. That's the bad part of what comes with his dad. And I don't know if it'll ever be fixed. I don't know if that's possible. I would just tell you as a consumer to enjoy the full package. Just enjoy that full package. And look, you know what? I think we should just go all the way into this off the bat. I was going to save that, but we might as well. Let me get to a couple comments. First, I think the best way to approach Teofimo is to have a circus music in the background. Despite being a skilled boxer, he just acts like a clown. That's fair. Fair. Canelo is wrong if he fights Charlo, and he's ducking if he don't fight Charlo. That's it. And that's what I was just telling somebody on Twitter. They're saying, yeah, they wanted Charlo. Now they're acting like they don't want Charlo. What you need to understand is there's no... It's always both. It's always going to be both. You're never going to get to these people, but you have to address it, right? You have to address the crayon eating. You have to, or else they're going to eat the whole 64 pack of crayons and disrupt the class, be doing spin kicks in the air, throwing stuff at the chalkboard. Every once in a while, you have to read the scoreboards to these dudes and try to address it. It just is what it is with these dudes. He's got hand speed. Yep. And I say that jokingly, but I don't hate Tszyu, but he's cuckoo. Tszyu is playing us. I don't think there's any genius behind it. I think it just is what it is, man. I think it is what it is. Tszyu is trying to do good things for the sport and fighters, especially himself. Good luck to him. There's nothing deep about Tszyu. He's about as smart as a bag of rocks. Now that's a little bit harsh. Shout out my guy, Bruce Gas. Why pay 3% to the criminal sanctioning bodies? Fair. Is there some reason why Canelo is fighting Benavidez next that I'm not aware of? Yeah, I think there are things going on. And we'll try to unpack that. Wait, good news. Teofimo only vacated 1 belt. He's undisputed, so that means he still has the other 3 belts. Oh, wait. And we had this discussion last night. And before I do that, and the beautiful thing about being back in a gym this past week is we don't, when you're in gyms, you'll notice that dudes talk about boxing completely different than the comic book nerds on social media and here. And I'm part of that. I mean, I got to put myself in that because I was having these discussions last night, but they're not, when I was in the gym Wednesday, they're not talking about any of this. They're not talking, like if I bring up, what do you think about this pound? They don't even see the pound for pound list. They're just enjoying boxing. What do you think about, is this guy undisputed if he does this? Can you be undisputed if you have one? They're going to look at you like you're an alien. They don't care. They're busy just having fun, talking about certain fighters. They were talking about how great Teofimo looked, how Josh Taylor couldn't make any adjustments. When we were having those discussions, that's what we were talking about. We were not talking about, my wife's texting me during the show, it's demon time, woman, man business. We do not discuss domestic stuff when the show is on. Yeah, right. They're not talking about boxing that way. But we're having this discussion last night, and here's what my final thoughts would be on Undisputed. Let me make a note because it's gonna be one of those shows. We need to get back to Teofimo, full package, because I'm just gonna go off on tangents today. And I had coffee, so I'm wired. Undisputed, non-undisputed, and B makes an argument. I don't want to put, because I'm gonna mess up what he's saying, but generally what he's saying is we know who the guy is, despite whether he has those 4 belts and the designation of those 4 belts. We know undisputed when we see it. Fair enough. And these guys are making great arguments, by the way. And that's why I love the roundtable. Shout out to D-Style and B for creating that whole network. And we can get on and have civil disagreements, even fiery civil disagreements, and still be friends and still be cool and get along with each other. Crazy. I know it's a crazy concept. It's crazy. I know. And we did it last night. And they're making great arguments. HLD on Twitter is making great arguments about undisputed shouldn't necessarily mean you need all 4 belts. But here's my issue with it is it's too complex. I need simplicity. And it's too subjective what they're out there offering. That Teofimo Lopez can be a guy with 1 belt, but still be undisputed because he beat the guy who was undisputed, but the guy was stripped or vacated due to politics. It's too subjective for me. I need simplicity. And you could argue the other argument, these are good arguments, by the way. You're the actually the one being too complex, Calix. Why? Because, you know, you're giving credence to complexity of sanctioning bodies and their moves. I get it. I understand. But as someone who enjoys boxing history, historian work, 20, 30 years from now, I need something concrete that's backed by something to explain to people who an undisputed champion is, what it is, and who it was. How many people were undisputed in the 4-belt era? I can't explain to them 20 years from now that, oh, Teofimo Lopez back in June of 2023 was the undisputed champion because of this and this. And no, it's too complex. It's too subjective. It needs to be backed by something. When they took the US dollar off the gold standard, it's no longer backed by anything, so it could be devalued over time. You can think what you want about Bitcoin. It's a real thing because it's backed by a blockchain. I need undisputed to be backed by something. I need undisputed to be backed by something, even if it's something as corrupt as the sanctioning bodies. We've designated that these 4 belts are the important belts, the real belts, as opposed to the Reggie belts. And undisputed means WBA, WBO, WBC, IBF simultaneously. Simultaneously. I'm not the one who made these rules, and don't act like these aren't real rules. Don't be disingenuous. Why is Crawford versus Spence happening right now, 5 years after it should have? Because Spence said, I'm going to clean up my side of the street. You clean up your side of the street. What do they mean by that? We all know what they meant by that. And how do I know? When Bud Crawford became a free agent, what's the first thing they did? Sign to fight Ugas. Why? Because Ugas had the final piece of the puzzle. What's the final piece of the puzzle? The 4th belt. Undisputed. We all know what it means. Let's not be disingenuous. Undisputed is undisputed. I just don't buy. It's too flimsy for me. It's too subjective for me to have something. I understand what you're saying, but I need it to be backed by something. I asked the loads. I've asked this loads on these channels. Tszyu will be back, especially because he said he'll be a multi-billionaire training or whatever. Yeah. I know. Charlo versus Andre instead. And those guys were talking back and forth on their channels last night, which calls into question whether Canelo really has a agreement with Charlo. Salute to you. Tszyu just in demand after a good showcase, not much more to it. Tszyu was doing 52 blocks and Foreman blocks. I'd argue nowadays I just let people talk. Cross guard, but he won't do that cross guard. Let's see what else we get. You love debate. A little too much. Isn't that what you're referring to? The lineal status. It's lineal. It's lineal. Like the guy who beat the guy. It's lineal. Lineal, undisputed. Come on, man. Like, let's not make this more complex than it is. Tszyu can't afford to pay everyone involved with him. Undisputed means 4 belts. We can't reinvent the definition every other week. It'll get too convoluted and complicated. Keep it simple. Tszyu, not undisputed. And I hate that the sanctioning bodies do this stuff. I understand the argument that Josh Taylor still should have been undisputed. I get it. And I've argued that it's too unsustainable. You need to make it more sustainable if you want it to add value. And by the way, I'm not arguing that Teofimo has less value because he's not undisputed. I don't think that. 2-time lineal champion within 20 fights, 25 years old, speaks for itself. I don't need him to be undisputed. I'm just saying there's a definition for it. And by the way, if we want to just scrap undisputed altogether, I'm fine with that. If we want to just say that guy's got all the 4 belts, that guy, I'm for scrapping it too if you want to do that. But if we're going to have it around, it has to be a real thing. Avenger Thanos movies. Undisputed is backed by sanctioning fees. Yeah. They're ultimately fighting towards the biggest purses. The belts are negotiation pieces for bigger purses ultimately. Shout out Wheel Chairman John. Andre versus Plant would be interesting. It would. I like all those fights. Using Tio's logic, does that mean Bivol is undisputed champ at 168 because he beat Canelo at 175? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's too confusing. The sport's already confusing enough, man. Don't confuse it more for me. Hit that like button for me. Appreciate y'all rolling through on this Friday. I don't know if y'all caught this before I get back to Teofimo. I have it right here in my hands. This is ProBox TV today. Wilder joins Skill Challenge Promotions and Haney is set to follow. Skill Challenge Promotions, the people who haven't been paying attention in the back of the class, the Saudis. Just think when you hear Skill Challenge, just associate that with the Saudis. It's the oil money. It's the big bags. Let me read the pull quotes here. Deontay Wilder has agreed promotional terms with Skill Challenge Promotions, and Devin Haney is on the verge of joining him, ProBox TV can reveal. The heavyweight 37 remains in negotiations to fight Anthony Joshua in December and will join Badu Jack, Almeoff, and most recently, Alexander Usyk among the mysterious and ambitious organizations stable. And remember that word when it comes to the Saudis, ambitious that they are. His arrival is expected to be formally announced next week by when Devin Haney, the undisputed lightweight champion, may also have agreed to join. Wilder had long been with Al Heyman and PBC, and he's not. But pay more attention to what the Saudis are doing. What it means for us short term is what? More inactivity. When's the last time you saw Deontay Wilder fight? What we know is the Saudis toss bags around like crazy. Just like crazy. It doesn't even seem real. They're just tossing the bags around. Remember when Usyk signed to fight Anthony Joshua and you're like, Usyk's making 40? Like 40 million for a fight? How is that possible? How is that sustainable? How is Alexander Usyk making that type of money? They're just tossing the bag around and they're going to inflate the purse. And why it's fun at the same time as they're doing it, they're beating some of these guys at their own game. PBC purged rosters by what? By just offering fighters crazy things in order to get them over. And you said at the time, you try to explain to people, it's not sustainable. It's not. They're telling you free boxing for all, but at the end of the day, it's going to lead to more inactivity and it's going to lead to more money for us. Country club sport. And this even accelerates that even more. So what you're going to see is more inactivity. And at the end of the day, the consumer pays for it on the back end. We always do. We always pay for it on the back end. So what I fear and what I'll tell you is 5-10 years down the line, if Skill Challenge is successful, expect to be paying more for fights on the back end of this, because this type of money they're throwing around just isn't sustainable. It's not. One belt per division, it would make too much sense and not enough money, so they don't make that happen. Yeah, I mean, all of this is fair stuff. I'm not the sharpest. I use monkey brain. I like entertaining fights. I'm just happy to get a notification. Tio's out there saying he wants to sign with a network. He doesn't want to be with a promoter. Then before he was saying, I don't like ESPN. This is the full Teofimo Lopez package. And this is what people need to understand, is you need to take the bad that comes with the good. The full package for Teofimo Lopez is what? It's what? He's going to look mid against mid fighters. Or let's start with this. He's going to look great against great fighters. Nakatani, undefeated, beats him. Comey, destroys him. Undefeated Comey, destroys him in the second round. Lomachenko does what he does to Lomachenko. 3 years later, Josh Taylor. In between that, he looks mid against mid-level opposition, the Sandor Martins of the world. So what the process is, what the full package with Teofimo Lopez is what? It's look great in great fights. Then behind that, you'll say some crazy shit. So it's great fights, say some crazy shit in between, mid fights, looking mid doing it, says some crazy shit in between, and then great fights, you look great doing it. The key ingredient to this, to find Teofimo Lopez entertaining, fun, is you have to deliver big fights. You have to deliver great fights. And it's even better if you look great in great fights, if it looks like you belong. To me, he's a talented lunatic, is what Teofimo Lopez is. You're going to get him saying crazy shit. It's just going to be there. And you have to stomach that. You have to be able to tolerate that, because you know on the other end of that, and a key part of this equation is you need him to deliver big fights, and you need him to show up in these big fights. And he's done that. He's done that. And as a boxing fan, that's all I can ask for. It's all I can ask for. Show up and give me big fights and show up in big fights. Give me the fights that I demand and then look great in them. That's even better. And he does that. He's clearly a pound for pound talent, fellas. And I don't want to get into pound for pound lists and where we rank certain fighters, but he clearly looks like one of the best fighters in the world, all things considered. It's evident at this point. He's done it against Lomachenko. He's done it against Josh Taylor. He's looked great in both of those fights. But that's a key ingredient to it. So if it becomes a Tyson Fury situation in which, all right, man, yeah, you look great in those fights. You look great against Klitschko. You look great against Wilder in the second, third. But that's too far and few in between. So the equation is now imbalanced. You're saying way too much crazy shit and fighting too not frequently enough. That's way down here. It's becoming to where you're saying too much crazy shit and you're not delivering fights. The equation is now off. The equation was here around the Wilder stuff, and now it's here. Dude, you need to fight some fights. I don't want to hear anything about John Jones, UFC fighters. I don't want to hear anything about any of that stuff. Anything you got going on outside the ring. Fanny merchants. I don't want to hear anything about that. I don't want to hear anything about fanny merchants. They're talking about fanny merchants. I don't want to hear anything about any of that stuff. Just deliver some fights. For the love of God, can you deliver some fights? Can you fight? I got the crazy shit part of the equation, but that's getting like too much. It's too much. It's out of balance now. Now you got to fight. You got to fight somebody. A fight. I need a fight. Tyson Fury. I need a fight. Tyson Fury. I know you're going to be on Instagram Live calling people fanny merchants and calling out UFC fighters and, saying this guy's ducking me, that guy's ducking me, that guy's ducking me. Dude, I need a fight. I need a fight. The equation is off balance now. Deliver us a fight, please. You've retired 27,000 times. Tyson Fury is the only fighter I've seen who has hired a trainer and then the next day retired. I saw that with my very own eyes, and I can't unsee it. He hired a new trainer, and then the next day he retired. How do you do that? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, if it gets to that part when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, we'll deviate, we'll correct course. And that's the beautiful thing about all this that I tell people is, look, man, we're a fan of Canelo's actions. And look, I tell people this all the time. We're not a fan of fighters. We're not a fan of people. We're a fan of the actions of the fighters. So when we say we're a fan of Canelo, we're a fan of his actions over time, his track record. And the beautiful thing about that is we're not emotionally attached. So we can deviate at any time. I was telling Chicano Prophet that the other night. If Canelo loses a fight, he loses a fight. We move on. And once again, that's the difference between like the gym culture and people who actually go to fights and then the comic book nerds who don't get out. Is they don't see when we go to Canelo fights, everybody's having a blast. Beautiful Latinas walking around everywhere, concerts everywhere. Everybody's having a great time. And then you log on Twitter and you're like, what the hell are these people doing? What are you doing with your life? Get out. Have some fun. Stop being miserable. They want everybody to be miserable like them. Why won't they stop liking Canelo? Why won't they stop? Dude, it's not hard to figure out. We like actual fights. I don't understand these dudes, man. And I bring it up with the tank sexuals all the time. And I know once again I'm going all over the place, but it's going to be one of those shows. Got nothing written down. They're the easiest to pick apart and illustrate because it's just an easy example. It's like you guys got to fight somebody. I like watching Tank fight. I love watching the dude fight. I love he knocks people out. But at some point, do we ask him to do it against somebody credible? Please? And then you ask for it, and then they hop on you. And I'm asking them, I've had these conversations. Do you get tired of carrying the full weight of this relationship? Do you ever get exhausted? Does your back ever hurt? Do your knees ever hurt for carrying the full brunt of this relationship? Do you ever come out and ask, like, Tank, can you actually pick up your slack of this relationship? It's pretty 90-10 over here. It's not 50-50. It's pretty 90-10. Can you ever like pick up your slack of the relationship here? You know, Tank, like, I'm getting kind of tired of fighting your mythical battles over here. I'm getting pretty tired of fighting mythical fights of fighters in your own weight class at the same time. I'm getting pretty tired explaining away why we can't do this fight because of that, can't do that fight because of this. You're busy riding in a booster seat with no license, hitting pregnant women and running away, and then you can't even stay in your house for 90 days. Can you please like pick up some of the slack of this relationship? Do you dudes ever get tired of doing all the work? And this is the beautiful relationship between Canelo and his fans, is the dude does the work. We just sit back and enjoy it. It's easy. That's why I asked the Benavidez fans, the temporary ones, is you can be a fan of whoever you want for whatever you like. You got to be genuine about why you're there, though. And I have to ask the question, why are you there? If I see a dude saying he marinated a fight for 5 years, and during that time span, he was saying he was working diligently to make that fight, and then he comes out and admits, no, I was marinating it. And then it does 100K pay-per-view buys, maybe. And his fighter has a 9-year career, and that's the only fight on his resume. I have to question, like, why are you out here fighting mythical battles for that fighter and his manager? It's too much work. Why would you want to do that? The beautiful relationship between Canelo and his fans is generally these are just boxing fans. He came in with a built-in fan base, Mexicans. Mexican Americans, much like Chavez Jr. Unlike Chavez Jr. lost that base. Why? He wasn't fighting the fights. He was doing pad work in the living room in pink Speedos, eating Lucky Charms, hopping in the pool, doing cannonballs while his dad's trying to speak some sense into him. People are seeing this and like, why am I here? What is this? Canelo does what? He keeps that base and he grows it universally. American fans, white American fans, black American fans, yellow American fans, fans everywhere, universally. And he grows that by simply fighting the fights. So it's easy to just sit back as a boxing fan and say, yeah, I like that dude. And as a boxing fan, it's beautiful because we can correct course at any time because we're not emotionally invested to any single fighter. So, example, I'm from New Orleans. I'm going to the fight tomorrow night. I don't like the fight. I don't. I'm gonna show up, but I don't. You see how easy this is? I don't like the fight. I don't necessarily blame Prograis for that. Short notice opponent. He's trying to get fights. Maybe the Matchroom deal is a good deal. Maybe it's not. Who knows? We'll see over time. But we can correct course and call fighters out on that. I don't like the fight. I don't like the card. I got friends on the card, on the undercard that I went to talk to Wednesday night. I don't like the card. I don't. I'm going to show up. I'm going to have fun, but I call it how I see it. It's a showcase fight. It's a showcase card. It's easy. So if Canelo starts to do these actions to where he's not fighting the fight over an extended period of time, we'll just correct course. We'll move on. Like I was telling Chicano Prophet last night, if he loses, he loses. It is what it is. He loses. The beautiful thing about this is if Benavidez fights Plant, fights Morrell Jr., if he ends up fighting Canelo, win or lose, if he goes on a run like that, and I'm assuming if they fight Canelo, there'll be some sort of rematch. If it's a close fight, or if he wins or whatever. If he goes on a 4-fight run like that, guess who Benavidez's biggest fan will be? I will be a Benavidez super fan. I'm going to hop on the wagon. I'm going to break my leg trying to hop on. Me. See how simple that is? See how simple it is? And that's why I talk about the Canelo hating crayon eaters. They're just like in the back of the class. And at first you're like, and let me get to this super chat real quick. Don't forget to hit the like so great content keeps getting recommended. And I appreciate that. Appreciate that. And like I said, I had a lot of coffee this morning, so I'm just all over the place. Going to be one of those shows. So I apologize. And appreciate the super chat, Remy. They start eating crayons in the back of the class. And you're like, you're just trying to pay attention. I'm just like, yeah, he's eating crayons. He's eating a fuchsia crayon. And his tongue's fuchsia. It's weird, but, just whatever. And then he starts eating a red crayon. And he eats the green crayon. And he's the violet crayon. And then he starts eating the yellow crayon. You're like, what the hell's wrong with this kid? He keeps eating crayons. Teacher, can you tell this dude to stop eating crayons? Because he's starting to get weird. It's getting weird for everybody involved. He starts spin kicking the air. He's throwing stuff at the chalkboard. He's banging against the desk. He's singing AC/DC. It's like, can somebody control this kid? It's getting to that point. Can somebody please control the kid? And they come in, they walk into class, give them a participation trophy. It's like, what the hell? Can we control this behavior? Please, can somebody control the behavior? And that's the Canelo haters. And I'm not talking about the detractors. There's a key difference. Everybody has stuff, man. Like Canelo is not perfect. Far from it. All of them are. But it's the other stuff. It's the other stuff. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's like I was trying to explain to the dude earlier. He goes over here, it's wrong. He goes over here, it's wrong. So where's the right pathway? Explain to me, what would he do that would make you happy? And they can't. They simply can't. That's what I was explaining to the dude is they're never going to give you a right pathway. It's wrong here, it's wrong there. It just is. It's just impossible expectations. And they can't even be honest about why they have high expectations of him. But at some point, man, the reason that there are so many crayon eaters now is for a long time, we just let that behavior go. For a long time on the YTBC, on Twitter, on Instagram, and D Style explains this phenomenon. We just let it go. We're just like, yeah, let them eat crayons. It'll go away. Eventually, they'll go through the whole 64 pack of crayons and fall asleep or something, or the bell will ring, and then we get out of this situation. But it just never ends. They just grab another pack. You just eat more crayons. And you're like, okay, we got to address this now. For the love of God, we have to make the Canelo haters read the scoreboard. All right, you were wrong about that. You're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. You're wrong about that. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. And you can fanboy this, fanboy that, fanboy that, fanboy that, blah, 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 all you want. But it's you. It's you. Dude, read the scoreboard. You are losing badly. You're down 40 points. You are losing. Read the scoreboard. You've been wrong about that. All these false narratives. Dude, for the love of God, can you just enjoy your day for once? I've told these dudes, can you go a week? Just go a week without just go a week without talking about them. Just go a week. 1 week. And this is what they don't realize is they're the ones that keep this going. It's amazing. It's amazing. That's why I dropped the video last month, because they can come over here and accuse me of whatever, but I showed the receipts. Dude, I dropped in 7 months. I dropped 8 Canelo videos in 7 months. And all but one were during fight weeks. It's you. You're the one talking about it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. We're just trying to correct your behavior. And if we see that our behavior is wrong, we will deviate. It's easy. It's easy because we just like to see good fights. And that's the beautiful part of this relationship is he does the work for us. We don't have to fight mythical battles. The only ones we have to fight temporarily are the disingenuous ones. Because all of a sudden, he's the Mexican monster, right? And he has a style that you've said for years, Canelo actually likes fighting. It's Bivol style he doesn't like to fight. It's Bivol style he hates. He doesn't like fighting slick black fighters. Well, he could possibly be fighting one. So what's the problem? What's the problem? And you're going to find a problem with that too. And by the way, there's nothing slick about Jermall Charlo. Can you stop being lazy for 1 minute? Who the hell watches Jermall Charlo and the first word that comes to mind when watching him in his style is slick? What is that? Slick? We must have like different definitions of slick. I don't know. But this is the tough part about it, man, is you have to figure out. I've just come to like this 95-5 or 90-10 rule to where we'll talk about boxing and what we want to talk about for 90-95% of the time and just keep it a buck. And then 5 to 10% of the time, we got to swerve off and address these dudes. Because if not, the crayon eating is going to accelerate and it's going to spread. And we're going to clone more crayon eaters because they're just emboldened. They're just emboldened and they create more zombies. And the problem with zombies now is the brain shots don't even work. They're just going to hop back up. But we got to do it. It's an exercise we have to do. We have to. Because we're not trying to get to them. We're trying to get to the people they're trying to influence. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. It's not about them. We have to fight the battle with them, but it's not trying to convince them. It's trying to convince the people that they're trying to convince. They're working overtime. They're doing multiple hour lives. Their wives are like, can you please come to bed? Honey, can you come to bed? Not now. There's still Canelo fans out here. I must address the Canelo fanboys. We can't do it. We can't have it. Honey, please. Like, she's calling her friend. He just won't come to bed. She's saying something about Canelo again. He just won't stop talking about Canelo. Honey, it must be done. It must be done. This redheaded ginger Mexican is terrible for the sport and we must stop him. Dude, why can't they just be happy? Why can't they just be happy? It's amazing. And that's the beautiful thing about us over here is we're happy. We're happy. I go to Regis Prograis fight tomorrow night, and if Zarilla knocks him out, guess what I'm gonna do? Oh, son of a bitch. That was fun. That was fun. You know, I won't lose any sleep over it. Canelo fights Benavidez. Benavidez knocks him out. I won't lose any sleep over it. Drink some Modelo's. I'll be happy. I'll be fine. Canelo did what he was supposed to do as a fighter. He behaved like a fighter over a period of time. Salute to you, my friend. First ballot Hall of Famer, great fighter, all-time great. And we got a new star in David Benavidez. That's going to be my reaction to it. See how easy that is? It's so easy. And the Canelo relationship with his fans is so easy because we can just sit back and relax and enjoy and drink some Coronas, drink some Modelo's, have some fun, watch some big booty Latinas walk around, and, you know, we have some fun. We all, you know, just have a great time. Listen to some Mexican music and, you know, just have a great time. That's it. That's the relationship. And we let him do the work. He's getting paid. He's the one getting paid handsomely. Let him do the work. Just sit back and enjoy it. We're the ones paying. He's the one receiving the payment. So let him do the work. That's the odd thing about the Tank relationship with his fans. It's like, don't you get tired of doing the work when you're the one paying? You're paying. I'm confused about this. You're paying. He's receiving the payments. He's not doing much work. You're doing the heavy lifting because you're the ones out here fighting the fights that he's not willing to fight. You're the one logging in the overtime, 50, 60-hour weeks on social media, battling dudes like me or whoever who just saying simply, can he fight the fights? Please, can he just fight the fights? Can he please just, you know, fight that guy or this guy? I mean, is that too much to ask? He's getting paid a lot of money. Leonard Ellerby comes after me, which is hilarious still. But I'm simply asking, don't you get tired of that relationship? If you're the one paying, why are you the one doing all the work? And that's the fun part about the Canelo relationship is you just sit back, hand over the money, demand certain fights. He's going to do it. Win or lose, we appreciate him for it. It's easy. It's so easy. And then if he loses, it's not the end of the world. That's the difference between the Mayweather era and the Canelo era is we don't fret over the O. When he lost to Dimitri Bivol, 17 days later, he announced he's going to fight Golovkin. And we were all happy. And that was it. And I saw them confused again. When you try to explain it to him, dude, all he's got to do is fight the fights. And we're there. Win or lose. Why is this hard? Why is this difficult? Yeah, but he lost the fight. Why do they still like him if he lost the fight? What do you mean? What do you mean, why do we still like him if he lost the fight? I don't understand. He lost the fight. So what? He lost the fight. And he lost a challenging fight. So what? This isn't difficult. Maul versus Ginger in Cowboy Stadium is the perfect fight. If boxing wants to keep their corners, September 13 and May 5th, UFC trying to encroach, and they are. UFC is trying to do a fight that weekend. And UFC, or at least they're claiming to be making inroads with the Mexican fan base as they make some inroads with Mexican fighters who are, some of them are starting to head that way instead of to boxing. So this is something we need to be careful with as boxing fans, as a boxing world, I should say, is if they make that play and they get the Mexican fighters and they get the Mexican base, that's going to be tough for the American market. Because Mexican fans carry this market. They just do. They carry the market. That's why we talk about Canelo like he's American because he's the biggest American draw. He's Mexican, but he's an American draw. He's really an American fighter. This was his first Mexican fight, 12 years in Mexico? So it's something we need to pay attention to, because if UFC makes inroads there, then that is not good. That's not good for us. But at the end of the day, it's about delivering fights. I'd love to see them deliver Canelo versus Benavidez, but for me, this isn't difficult. Somebody was asking earlier, why can't we just make Canelo versus Benavidez? I'm there. I'm right there with you. But I know, based off of track record, which one is at fault if that doesn't happen next. I know. I don't need to see the details. All I do is plug track record into that equation. Is going to spit out a reliable answer every time, almost every time. Like I said, I'm not going to go out there and cap for a dude who's not doing anything for my money. I will give the benefit of the doubt to the dude where I say, here's money, here's my money, take it, and he delivers what I want. It's just an easy relationship. And I'm confused as to why people wouldn't want to embrace that type of relationship. Why would you want to be in a relationship where you're the one doing the heavy lifting and you're only getting like 5 to 10% of the benefits of doing the heavy lifting? Why would you want to be in that relationship? So that sounds like an abusive relationship to me. It's confusing to me. Hector Luis Garcia, Raleigh Romero, guys moving up from 130. And you got to do all this work to try to convince people that the competition that these guys are fighting is actually better than you thought. And then you have to tear down the other guys for whatever reason that are actually doing things to make your guy look better. One is bad for the sport, but two, it's just a lot of work. It sounds like too much work for me. I got enough work going on to do stuff like that. There's a girl on Twitter. She asked this question the other day. She posed it. I don't know who she is, by the way. Don't know what she does, but she posed a question I saw going viral. Her name's Ashley St. Clair, and she says, what is your infatuation with sports? And it's easy. It's easy. We do so much work during the week. We got a lot of stuff going on. People have issues, and sports is the outlet. It's where we go. It's like the round table last night. It's where we go to just have fun, kick back, talk some shit, shoot the shit, have fun. It's the outlet. And I have a big problem with people trying to tear that down, because it's where we go to find common ground, lay down our swords. You know, we all have differences outside of the ring, outside of the court, outside of the football field. It's where we go, dudes. It's where we go. It's why there's more diversity on the male side than the female side. You see females hanging out. Generally, they're with like mind. Dudes, you see a lot of diversity when it comes to dudes hanging out. I was at the boxing gym Wednesday night checking out Prograis. It's a lot of diversity in there. That wouldn't have happened had a boxing event not been there. That's what sports does. It brings people together. It's easy. It's simple. And it's supposed to be simple. So I'm super confused when dudes are doing a lot of work in their life, balancing relationships, balancing work, balancing all this stuff, kids, and then they have to come to boxing and do extra work because for whatever reason they decided they like this guy. And fair enough. Whatever reason they decided they don't like that guy, fair enough. But the problem is when you have to warp and bend reality and do all this work because your fighter's not behaving like the guy you thought you fell in love with, and then this guy over here is. To me, like I said, the easy thing is just to correct course and flip the script and say, okay, I'll go over there and like that dude. And, you know, I'll just stop liking this dude. It's easy. It's simple to me. Why would you want to make it more complex than it is? Life is already complex. And to answer this girl's situation, it's easy. Like, we just come together and we have fun. It's sports. We got too much going on out there to not have an outlet. I tell my wife all the time, like, dude, I'll do whatever Monday through Friday. And then on Sunday, I'll do whatever you want. You want me to go to the mall or wherever, or the trampoline park with you and the kids, or whatever? You want to go eat dinner on this night with your friends? I'll take you, whatever. Give me my Saturday. That's all I need. I'll do whatever the other 6 days, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. You give me my Saturday where I could watch wall-to-wall college football from college game day to the WAC game at the end of the night, 2 a.m., and I can watch boxing at the same time. Perfectly happy. You have a perfectly happy man. That's all I need is my Saturday to reset. So I have a big problem when a woman says something like this. Why do you guys like sports? It's like, get out more. And I have a big problem with people trying to encroach on that and bring all this other nonsense. It's my huge problem with the LDBC and why I left the YTBC originally and why I'm back. And those dudes, I got news for them. The LDBC, they can lick everybody's balls over here. Don't care. Don't care anymore. Because I have a huge problem with dudes trying to inject all this other stuff into something we love so much. Sports, whatever it is, boxing, you like hockey, whatever it is. Whatever it is you like. Whatever it is you like. Like it, enjoy it, have fun with it, have fun with it. It goes back to Teofimo Lopez. It's accept the full package because good and bad, it all comes together. And that cycle is going to continue. Mid against mid-level opponents. Great against great level opponents. Talk some weird shit in between. Says some weird shit in between. Retires. Just accept that cycle and have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, we're just here to be entertained. Have fun with it. And try to push these dudes out who are trying to bring other stuff into this thing here. We're here to talk boxing. We're here to have fun. We're here to have civil debates, arguments, civil, leave it at the door, and then have fun. But these dudes bringing this other stuff in, trying to ruin our sports, trying to ruin our time, trying to inject all kind of different things into it. Politics, social issues, all this other stuff. Dude, leave that bullshit at the door. We can talk about that in another forum. These forums here, we're going to talk boxing. These forums here, we're going to have fun and talk about sports. Have fun. Everybody, go to an NBA game. Go to an NFL game, a college football game, a boxing event. I'll be at a boxing event tomorrow night. Look at the crowd around you. Different ages, different shades, just different people doing different things outside of there, but we all come together and just have a blast. Drink some beers. Why would you want that to go away? Why would you want that to go away? And why would you want that part of it to be complex? Why wouldn't you just back to addressing boxing fans? Why wouldn't you just gravitate towards the fighters? And you can, like I said, you can like whoever you want for whatever you want. That's fine. But don't bend reality around it. Don't bend truths around. There is no your truth. There is truth. Don't try to bend reality around your certain fighters and what they're doing and other fighters you dislike are doing. Stay consistent with it. But why would you want to do the heavy lifting? Why would you want to make something that's meant to be an outlet more complex and more hardworking and more painstaking than it needs to be? That's my pitch for Canelo, is he gives you that out. He gives you that out. It's like, I try to explain this to people as much as I can. Every time the topic comes up, it's like, dude, he just does the work for you. It's easy. It's so simple. It's just a simple thing. It's not complex. He just does the work for you. Performances, he may let you down. It's going to happen. But he did it. He still did it. He still went out there and did it. He's doing the work for you. These other dudes who are popping up once a year, maybe, like I said, if Prograis loses tomorrow night to Zarilla, I still have a good time. Doesn't matter to me. Teofimo, be entertained. Be entertained by Teofimo. He's fun. That's the thing about Teofimo, is the dude is fun. He's a fun dude. I'm not asking you to like the stuff he's saying outside of the ring, but what I'm telling you is a key part of the equation is they have to fight the fights. So as long as a guy has that in the equation, he's fighting the fights. He's looking great in those big fights. It's a big part of it for me. And as long as he's doing that, I can excuse a lot of the other behavior. And one thing we want to keep around in boxing, and once again, I'll bring this up, it all ties together, is we want to keep it politically incorrect. We want to keep gym culture alive, because I'm telling you, gym culture is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. They've sanitized it away in other sports. Aren't you tired of hearing like they go in the NBA locker room, how'd you feel? Well, I felt great. It was a good game. They talk to a boxer. How was your training camp? Oh, training camp was good. When's the last time you heard a fighter say training camp was awful? It's just awful. You don't hear it. What I'm saying is we dislike a lot of the stuff Teofimo's saying, but I enjoy that the sport allows that. Imagine some other dude from another sport saying some of the stuff Teofimo's saying right now. It's just the commissioner of that sport's head would be exploding. All kind of different companies would be pulling their endorsement of that guy. Boxing is different, and we need to keep it that way. Don't you want to be entertained? Don't you want to hear guys speak their mind? Ellie Sec back and going to a gym, any gym in America, reporting, and then say something completely stupid, and then the boxer says something completely stupid, but it's entertaining. And they should be able to say it. And of course, there's going to be repercussions to some of the stuff they're saying, and that should be there as part of free speech. But I got to be honest, man, I like that part of boxing. That's one of the good things about it being decentralized, is there's no commissioner to rein this stuff in. Every once in a while, you'll see a sanctioning body or Nevada State Athletic Commission come in and levy some sort of punishment. But for the most part, man, dudes are able to be themselves. And we want to see fighters be themselves. And we want to respect, embrace, and protect this gym culture, because I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to go into boxing gyms and hear dudes talk about boxing in a different type of way than we hear dudes talk about boxing on social media. There's no, this guy pound for pound list, and besides, it's like, dude, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about that. Reporting. Let me get to some of these comments. Too many fighters disrespecting the sport itself. A good example is when some of them say after the fight that it was peanuts, easy peasy, F the pseudo, macho. Crap. Lennox, yeah. Why not keep negotiating with Canelo? Let's see what we got. Nothing beats betting on boxing, 12-round championship caliber pace. It's fun. Instead of running narratives and gambling suits manufactured storylines. I almost wrecked. I wasn't the only one. Hella folks were pumping their brakes. Let's see what we got. And I missed a lot of comments. Missed a lot of comments. Let's see what we got. No matter what DB does, he has no leverage on Canelo until DB beats maybe Morrell, but at least Bivol. And I'm there as far as the fight already. I don't need to see Benavidez do any more, but my argument is why trust what Sampson's out there saying? That's my argument to people. I'm already there with the fight. If they want to do the fight, make it. I'll be there. I'll go to that fight. Wants to consume the best. In some ways, this has been the best time to be a boxing fan. There's fights on almost every Saturday. It wasn't like that a few years ago. And you're right. And I want to be careful on that, is just not to talk about the negative stuff. This has been a good year for boxing. It has. There are still things to pick at. We still need to get guys more active. And what we're seeing now should be the norm for boxing, is my point. We should be having fights on every weekend. You have enough fighters out there. You have enough money to go around if you're doing it the right way. Fighters want to fight. This should always be the case. You should always be making big fights. And you should always be making entertaining fights in between. 99.99% of the sport is the stuff we don't talk about on here. And see, Wednesday night, I was interviewing on the page Jeremy Hill, who fights on the undercard against Mark Davis, and he lost to Muratalla last year, and he's fought twice since. He's making his way back up. And Muratalla, they were completely respectful of Muratalla. They were saying, that dude's a beast. Watch out for him. He's a beast. He's a handful. He's powerful. He punches a lot. He's just going to be a handful for everybody. But 99.9% of it is the dudes that you don't see. And that's why we get frustrated when we see dudes at the top who aren't doing anything and they're holding up the process, because dudes like that are just sitting there and they're waiting for their shot. They're just waiting for their shot. And when dudes up here are holding up the process and we're being overly empathetic to them and their problems when everybody else has problems, the world shouldn't shut down for anybody. It shouldn't stop for anybody. You have to keep the process going at all times because it holds up the process for dudes who just want a shot. They're working hard. That's why I like Badu Jack, by the way, since his name's in the news cycle. 6-0, 4 KOs at cruiserweight. I very much take personally that dudes are disrespecting Badu Jack out there because he's done everything right in the sport. He's one of those dudes. He's a Carl Froch type figure. Look at his run at 168. Look at some of the bad breaks he's gotten in decisions, close decisions. Moves up the ranks, 3-time division champion, 3-division champion. He's fought the fights. He's fought through cuts. He's fought through injuries. He's a consummate professional. I like that he's out there getting paid. He's with Skill Challenge. Good for him. He's earned it. He's earned it. Certain guys go out there and do it the hard way and they make their way and then they continue to behave that way. When I see people being disrespectful of a Badu Jack, and I understand that that's not your top fight, fine. But you're not going to disrespect Badu Jack either. Because if Canelo fights Badu Jack, I'm just being honest with you, man. Besides Bivol, it's the most dangerous fight. You better secure a pretty big bag if you want to fight that fight, because that dude was just 215 pounds in his last fight. And he obviously translates to cruiserweight because he beat Mukabu 4 knockouts of 6 fights and he's undefeated. He's obviously a cruiserweight now, and there are weight classes for a reason. So good luck if that's the fight. I hope you're securing a big bag, but one thing people aren't going to do is disrespect Badu Jack because that guy's done it. He's done it. I thought Groves beat Jack. Badu versus Canelo is a 12-round phone booth war. It's actually tough to bet on. That it is. Muratalla won me some money on the stoppage also versus Nakathelia. Just got to watch them all. And they were talking about Muratalla highly, man. Like that dude can fight. That dude can fight. That dude's powerful. And he was all over us. Let's see. But I will echo this. Despite the business stuff, if Benavidez goes on a run once again, where he Plant, Morrell, Canelo, like that type of run, I'm a fan. It is what it is. I'm not gonna move the goalposts on those dude on a dude like they do with Canelo. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I like how the winner will have 2 interim belts to fight Canelo next. The cheaters and lame fighters cherry picking, just cheating themselves. If you have boxing education, you can bet on it and win some money. Boxing education awareness is your protection. Let's see. Too many fighters disrespect. I got to that one already. So yeah, man, I mean, that's what it is. And on a Friday, I had a lot of coffee. We're going to bounce around a lot. Get some stuff off my chest. This is sort of therapy in a way too, from stuff I see on social media during the week. It just is what it is. Salute to JC in the building as well. Even at 185, Jack is dangerous, and he is, man. But I don't like catch weights. I'll speak out on catch weights if that happens. Don't like it, either fight at the weight or not. People will disagree with me on that. Fair enough. Just like they'll disrespect with me. Disagree with me on undisputed, de facto undisputed. I get it. Good arguments all around, but I prefer to stay pretty rigid on catch weight and undisputed. It just makes it easier for me to stay consistent. And one thing I know about a lot of people in the chat, the people in the roundtable last night, is we're all looking for the easiest way to stay consistent. All the people on the round table last night, consistent people, consistent boxing thinkers, and we're all looking for the easiest way to stay consistent. And For a guy like Beeb, it's easier for him to say, I'm just going to go with the best guy. I know it when I see it. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying for me, it's easier, even with the sanctioning body bullcrap, it's just easier for me to have something to back it with. I need undisputed to be backed by something. And the sanctioning bodies, as much as we hate them, we have to admit they serve a purpose. And one of the purposes is backing undisputed claims. Even if we feel there's some sort of dispute, we can say, no, technically he's going to be called undisputed here. Technically, we're just going to call that guy undisputed. Technically speaking, we've defined, despite people being disingenuous on this and acting like we never did, we've defined WBA main belt, WBO main belt, WBC main belt, IBF main belt. Those are the belts. Those are the belts. And I'm sympathetic to the argument that where does it end? 5 years from now, it'll be 5. 20 years from now, it might be 10 belts. Fair enough. I don't like that either. But I still need, if we're going to keep undisputed around, that's what y'all want to do, because I don't need an undisputed designation. But if you want to do it, it has to be backed by something. And shout out my guy HLD, because he's one of the ones I said that brought up great arguments. They bring up great arguments, man. They do. And that's one of the things I value about these relationships and the round table is one of the few spaces in this boxing content creation thing where you can go and actually have these dialogues and not worry about a dude threatening to pull a gun on you and pull up on you at a fight. Like, can we not do that? Can we not do that? Like, I'd like to just go to a fight and not worry about calling security over a boxing opinion. Once again, it goes back to, let's not bring that other stuff into the things we love. It goes back to the Ashley St. Clair question. Why are dudes so obsessed with sports? And I've heard women say this before. It's one of the things I value about my wife. She understands it. She gets it. I just got to leave this dude alone on Saturday. I got to leave him alone on Saturday. The other 6 days, he's that dude. Saturday, he ain't. Saturday, I got to leave him alone. That's his reset button. Sports is his reset button. It's his reset button. I got to let him hit reset. Then Sunday, he'll be right back. He could watch Nevada versus Fresno State up until 1:30 in the morning. As hard as that is to understand why a dude would watch College Game Day at 8 a.m., wall-to-wall coverage, watch some boxing in between, watch Nevada versus Fresno State at 1:30 a.m. Central on a Sunday morning, and then pop up at 7 a.m. like nothing happened. It's the reset button, man. It's sports. It does it. It does it for you. And I don't like when people tread on that. Leave our sports alone. I see you outside of our sports headquarters trying to corner in with all your nonsense. You shouldn't be that enamored with sports. You shouldn't care that much about it. It's our outlet. Leave us alone. As long as we're delivering where we need to deliver, why can't we just sit back, have some fun with our bros, kick back, and watch some sports? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with our little reset button there? Leave us alone. Canelo weight drains the shit out of Battle Jack. Fair enough, man. Like, I'm not going to talk anybody off of that. It's just, for me, it's just easier to say I don't like catch weights. To be undisputed, you must have all four belts in the ring. Fair enough. Fair enough. You come up with some good arguments, HLD. You do. Slowly understand that as well. They got, we need to ease them into that, Chauncey. Like, they need to understand we need our reset button. We need our reset. And the world needs to understand that. And it's why they try to take it from us, because they love divisiveness. They love keeping us at each other. They love it. And that's why I hate the LDBC crew, because they bring that in there and they want to get us at each other. It's like, dude, just let us enjoy our sports. It's our outlet from that. We just want to have some fun. Let us have some fun. Fair enough, Remy. They're keeping their O for a payday, and that's a key part of that. If Al Heyman makes this play to secure Canelo for several fights, that's a key part of his war to get of his chess game to get Canelo, was to keep his pawn safe. That's what we've been saying for years, and that's why Canelo told Boo Boo Andre, go fight a fight, man. That's all you got to do is go fight a fight. It's why Benavidez has organic demand for a fight with Canelo now. He went and fight a fight. He went and fought a common opponent. He fought the number 3, 4 guy in the division. Good for him. Now we have organic demand. Now we're there. That's all he told you to do. For years, all you guys were somehow, all these fights are easy to make, and somehow you're avoiding each other. It's amazing how that works. It's like I talk about the welterweight division all the time. How is it for so many years you've had all this talent in that division? You have all these undefeated fighters in the division. How is it that you have 7 undefeated fighters in the top 10 in one division? How is that possible? They're super talented. They're not fighting each other. How do we know? So Canelo told you, go fight a fight. Go fight a fight. And we got a big fight. Now it's there. Now, if you want it, if you really want it, you can do things to get it. You know what he values. Knock on WBC headquarters. Hey, strip him. Strip him. If he really wants to fight, if Samson wants to fight, that's the stuff he'd be doing. He's not. It's not. It's simple. I've seen dudes talking about all kind of stuff, JC. What these dudes are wearing at press conference. That's why the press conferences bore me. They bore me so much. As I get older, especially, I don't care what the dudes are. I see dudes sharing clips of Haney with his jewelry. And by the way, any wealth manager will tell you the worst thing you can do is purchase expensive jewelry. It's one of the worst things you can do. Expensive jewelry, expensive cars, just such a waste. Such a waste. But I don't care. I don't care what the jewelry he's wearing. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what these dudes are saying at a press conference, really. Unless they're saying crazy stuff like Teofimo and you're kind of entertained. But the playback of this episode, she'll think I'm crazy, Chauncey. Don't play it for your wife. She'll think I'm crazy. Read the only sanctioning body rules in regards to either unifaction. To unify, it must be with another recognized sanctioning body's preeminent champion. Once again, HLD, you bringing up good points, man. You're bringing up good points. To me, it's easy. You have the 4 belts or you don't. And if we want to get rid, stop texting me. Stop texting me, wife. If we want to get rid of the undisputed designation, I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with it. But there's got to be something concrete to back it. It has to be backed by something. Morrell versus Benavidez is a great addition to the boxing schedule if it happens. And that's a great point. And I'll go back to this. The beautiful thing about this to me is even if they don't deliver the fight, and by the way, if they don't, I'm pretty sure who to blame there. All these fights I love. I love all of them. I love Benavidez versus Morrell Jr. I might actually be picking Morrell Jr. in that fight. I love Canelo versus Bivol rematch, Canelo versus Badu Jack, Canelo versus Charlo. All of those entertain me in different ways. I'm fine with all of them. I'm fine with all of them. Andre didn't try to fight Munguia, Charlo, and GGG. Stop it, bro. He didn't. It's simple. He didn't. He didn't. I don't know what to tell you. He didn't. Sorry. I mean, by the way, did y'all see what? And this is what I talk about the political incorrectness of boxing. Go back and watch that IG live between Charlo and Boo Boo Andre. You will not see that in any other sport. Is what I talk about entertainment value. You will not see that in any other sport. You got Charlo throwing out the F word, and I don't mean the 4-letter F word when it comes to Boo Boo Andre because he has painted nails, like stuff like that. Any other sport, those dudes would be called to the office and reprimanded by the commissioner. But the political incorrectness, decentralized part of our sport allows that, and it's beautiful. No matter if we agree with what they're saying or not, that's the beautiful part about it. I think I'm picking Morel. Does Andre still live with his parents? He's definitely struggling financially with his inactivity. Pro Box, the new USA Tuesday night fights. On that note, man, I appreciate y'all rolling through on this Friday. I will be dropping content over the weekend because I'll be at the fights tomorrow night. So hopefully I'll get some stuff. I'm going to be ringside for that. And I'll be dropping some stuff in the mailing list. I'll be dropping some stuff on that today. So be on the lookout for that for the people on the mailing list. Appreciate y'all rolling through. God bless. Peace.